The saddle is a key component for an acoustic guitar's tone, playability, intonation, harmonics, and sustain. You can read more about the importance of this component in GraphTech's white paper, The Science of Tone. Here to demonstrate how to properly install the TUSQ man-made Ivory saddle is Master Luthier Nicole Alosinac.
Hi, I'm Nicole. This is a TUSQ PQ-9280-C0 compensated saddle. I'm going to install it today on this acoustic guitar. GraphTech has a huge selection of acoustic saddles in different compensations, blanks, and thicknesses. I really like the increase in harmonics I get from using a TUSQ saddle. I'm going to show you how to install it on this acoustic guitar today, and it's pretty easy if you have a few simple tools. So let's get started. Alright, so where we're going to start is by removing the strings and the bridge pins. I have my handy-dandy drill attachment, but you can use a simple string winder to do this. So I'm going to remove the strings. From there. Now at this point the saddle should just come out of the slot without any trouble. If it does get stuck or if it's glued in there, you definitely want to talk to a guitar tech or your luthier. You don't want to pry it out there because you can rip up some of the bridge. So this is an example of just being finger tight, and you can just take it out. That's step one. Okay, the next step is we're going to see how the saddle blank fits into the bridge slot. So this one seems to fit a little bit tight. So if you do find that it's too tight, if it doesn't even fit in like that, I don't want to force it. That's a bit too much pressure on there. So what I can do is take a piece of sandpaper and put it on a flat surface and use that to get the thickness. What I have here is a piece of wood with a sandpaper block already on it. So I'm just going to sand this evenly on both sides until I find the right fit. It doesn't take much, and it sands really nice and quickly too, which is great. A little more. And there, that fits much more smoothly with less pressure. Now I also need to make sure that the length fits properly too. This one, let's check, just a bit tight. So what I'm going to do is you can also do this on your bench, but I'm going to do it just a bit here. And I'm going to try and make sure I keep those sides at a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to round that over a little bit more. It's a very simple tool, but it's a handy tool. And it works well. All right, let's see how my length is here. So the saddle should slip in and out of the saddle slot easily, but it shouldn't fall out when you tip it. It should be able to stay there, just fit nice and snugly, but go in and out nice and easily. And that's perfect. Okay, now that we've got the thickness of the saddle and the length of the saddle, we need to get the proper height for the saddle. So what we're going to do is reference our old saddle. So I'm going to take the old saddle and lay it across the top of the new saddle, line them up as best I can, and then draw a line with a nice sharp pencil. And then right there, I know how much height I need to take off to get the same action with my new TUSQ saddle. Okay, I've been using sandpaper to take the height off the bottom of the saddle. Now when I'm getting close to my line, what I'm going to do is I use these two blocks that have sandpaper on them. This bottom block has sandpaper on it, so I can hold this here and it's not going to move back and forth as I work with it. This other block has a right angle and sandpaper on it, so I can get a nice straight right angle on the bottom of the saddle. This is important because you want more contact at the bottom of your saddle with the bottom of the saddle slot. I also like to make sure it's perfectly straight by using a straight edge and holding it up to the light and seeing if there's any light that passes through. This one there isn't, which is great. And when you have a piezo pickup, it's especially important that you have constant contact across the whole bottom of the saddle to the piezo at all times. All right, the final step of installing a new acoustic saddle is checking the string height. This is called measuring the action, and we measure the action at the top of the 12th fret to the bottom of the string. So I'm going to check the action here at the low E string, which we want to be about 3 millimeters or 0.125 of an inch. You can also use about 12 business cards if you don't have a ruler on hand. We're also going to check the action on the high E string. This side we want to be a little bit lower at 2 millimeters or about 0.08 of an inch. You could also use about 8 business cards to check the action. Now, these measurements might be a little bit on the high side for some people. Action is a personal thing. Everybody plays a little bit differently, but it's better to err on the side of having it be a little too tall than too short, because you can always take more material off, but you can't add it back. So this guitar, it's ready to go. It looks great. Sounds great too.